Hello there, good evening, welcome back to Celtic World Order. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt, and as you can see, joined here by my bearded brother. He's back in town, Paddy Bhoys back with us. Paddy, such an early stage of the season, 2 games played, but yet, strangely, we find ourselves 4 points ahead. And we can't call it a title race right now, can we? We're in the league, 2 opening games, we're 4 points ahead. We sat there, we laughed yesterday, kept the powder dry because it was Aberdeen, wasn't it? The beat us in the cup final at Hampden. Anything could happen, but the job was done, mate. And are you happy?
Yeah, listen, absolutely delighted. Had a cracking morning. Me and Joe, the other guy for CW, were out at a lovely round of golf this morning just before the game. Then got back in time to sit down and enjoy it. A wee bit of revenge, shall we say. So, yeah, listen, fantastic performance. We'll concentrate on ourselves. The other side of the city will tell you that they're in a title race. So we'll just concentrate on ourselves and hope their hearts slip up because they seem to be the new boys in town now, don't they?
I love that. I love the wideness so early on. You can't take it away from you. You never change, Paddy. That's the way to go. But now, listen, let's just dive straight in about it. As we say, it's decent result. I think it was a good performance pretty much around. Could it have been slightly better? Of course it could always be, but I thought that it was going to be a tight, I think it did, maybe I said 2-0, maybe I said 2-1, but I pretty much said 2 goals to Celtic, and I thought it was going to be a wee bit tight at points, of which it was, but I will take it all day long. The important thing here is, Paddy, it gives us a wee bit of a buffer, it puts us in a good spot, and as we well know, with the way the games are panning out and them postponing the game, Celtic choosing to play, you could play them, you could defeat them, and you could be up to 10 points ahead after the first round of games, which is absolutely insane. However, it is not something to take your eyes off the prize and the job in hand because, as we'll get on to, we still need those extra bodies in the door, mate, and the manager said as much. But we will take it. Before we crack into it,
Yeah,
as we
that's it.
always do,
There's several positions that we're lacking in.
you jumped me. Your reception's a wee bit there.
Sorry.
The reception's a wee bit funny. No, listen, don't be silly. I was just about to say, the wee housekeeping. You know the score by now. Welcome to the channel. Support the channel. Like us. Subscribe to us. Cost you nothing to do that. Nearly to 2,000. To help us go over the mark. Hit that button before you leave here. If you want to get notified when we go live and everything else, hit the bell icon. Plenty of ways. XCW Pod 1888. Spotify. Blue Sky. TikTok. Instagram. We're all there. Paddy, let's dive right in. I'm sorry I cut you off there. I said your reception was a wee bit sort of stoppy-starty there, but yes, we'll take it. We're happy. But the manager continually says the same story at the end of the match. It's a wee bit like Groundhog Day, and I ain't going to lie, I'm starting to feel a wee bit sorry for the man in charge.
Yeah, listen, we've spoke about it so many times, having like for like coming in off the bench and things like that. Obviously, Brendan, I think, has started to show a little bit of frustration, and rightly so. And the fans, I think, this time are actually looking at it and are behind them. The fans are backing him up on this because we can see it as well. Before we come on, Steve, what you say is like when you seen his interview there, it was kind of dead ice and somebody that's kind of going through the motions as it was. He's not going to take it for granted. He's the manager there, a fantastic club, and he understands what it means. And I think he just wants the best for us. And I think he's knocking on deaf ears. If I'm perfectly honest here, it's pretty hard to see that for your manager, knowing fine well what we need. And by us winning and putting out performances like we did today isn't really going to help his case. I know he's trying his best when he's taking off guys like Kieran Tierney and bringing on Trusty and things like that to say, look at the lack of depth in my squad. But then Scales is going into left back and he's doing a job, and it's kind of playing into the board's hands a little bit. I still really think we need to strengthen in 4 or 5 positions before we move on.
Well, that's it. Listen, we'll get on to it. We'll just bring it up nice and early. Obviously, I jumped on a wee bit early whilst you guys are out on the golf course and that, trying to keep this train running whilst you are all out there having a jolly good time. But anyway, brought it up. The lineups were there. No surprises there. I felt that maybe we spoke about this previously where I think that perhaps maybe McCown could have maybe felt a wee bit sort of hard done by. Probably you'd say that he merited a right good position in the squad. He came on, he featured, of course, but then we'll see Nigrin arguably in the chat for the man of the match potentially there. And of course, the other one that was going to be Nigrin or Hatat if you're going to switch him out. both of them contributed today. You can't say fair on that. But one guy who absolutely deserved to get his song, his hook, was Yang, and it was Forrest went in. Were you surprised with
Mhm.
those changes, Paul Paddy? And again, we'll get into them straight away. The comments are coming in. Adamida, the persistence there. You've been so positive about him, but mate, it didn't happen, did it?
I said it's getting harder and harder to defend Adamida, isn't it? I'm trying to flog a dead horse here. It's very, very hard, isn't it? He goes out there, he tries, he's running into different positions, but it just seems like every single time he's setting touches a tackle, he's struggling for confidence, I think, in front of goal. It's hard to watch. It's difficult. I thought, like you said, Steve, the Luke McCown debate. I thought we Chocolate Bar played phenomenal last week, and I thought he did deserve a shot in there. But where do you put him? Do you put him in front of Negrin? Do you put him in front of Hatate? For me, Rio Hatate's been invigorated this season. This is a new Rio Hatate you're starting to see. He's been incredible. He's been the guy that I've been praising all through last season. This is him stepping up to the mark. Yes, he had a couple of passes away and whatever. Do you know what I mean? He's always going to have that because he does the dangerous stuff, but he showed his class, as did Negrin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throughout. So, listen, I feel sorry for guys like Luke McCown because he does a fantastic job for the team. He really, really does, but he's got to fight for that place, and it's good to have. That's one of the positions that I'm quite happy with. Obviously, we could
mate, we're overloaded. We're
do you know what I mean? You
absolutely
can chop and
overloaded
change
there.
in there. So there's many people want to take over the two positions. Obviously, you got Arnie Engels as well. Do you know what I mean? Like I've said, he's still got a lot to do for me, but he is a quality player, and he's one of the guys that could just slot into one of the positions and do the job. So that's a positive there for me, is having these guys basically fighting for that, because the end of the game interview, Benji Negrin said like there's 60 games this season potentially we're going to rotate. Do you know what I mean? So he's already got that installed in him already. We're 2 games into the season, so that's brilliant. That's the mentality that you want for your team. He's not going there, no, I want to play the 60 games. He's saying, yeah, this is a team game. We've got 60 games.
It's good to have that realisticness around it, but it also
100%.
means that there's a togetherness, and I think that's the most important thing there. Let's dive into the action, mate. We'll bring this up real for those that like to have a look at how the game panned out, and it was, look at that, it was fairly dominant, wasn't it? I mean, heavy duty possession there, the shots on target, the touches in the box, you name it. Celtic were absolutely all over it. Funny that fouls committed one, because Celtic managed to get more yellow cards than the opposition, which I did find quite funny. And of course, the corners will flog that dead horse for ages. But let's get straight into that, because Quinny mentions it right off the bat, and it was quite surprising. He says quality on and off the pitch and the dugout, and that makes a difference. The ref gave us absolutely nothing, and it's huge considering.
Yeah.
I felt that. I felt that the opening phases of the game, when we look at it and we saw the stats there, Aberdeen didn't really trouble us. That sort of early on shot, and it was a brilliant, it was maybe one for the cameras, as they say, with Casper Schmeichel, where he picks out of the air with one hand over the top of the other. But aside from that, they didn't really do too much. I saw a couple of jokes, and I'm going to throw it out. It would be remiss me up to after you messaged them. Could it be worse than Adamida? Well, it could be that boy that was up front for Aberdeen, because he was just a shit. It was a battle of the terrible strikers that first half there. But nah, jokes aside on it, it was fairly comprehensive. They didn't really threaten us. There was a couple of times where we knew the likes of Keskin and Nielsen, for example, good bit of speed. When Celtic were high advanced, they would try to knock it in behind, and they got a wee bit of sort of purchase from that. But I thought that Celtic defensively, Carter Vickers in particular, and flashes for Alistair Johnson, particularly chasing the likes of Keskin with that pace, really dealt with it fine. But as Quinny's saying there, it was an aggressive start to that game, mate. I genuinely thought there was going to be a severe injury and or a red card at some stage in that. And as he says, we weren't getting very much, were we?
No, definitely. A red flag quite a lot ago. I think he was just trying to get the game flowing, basically, and I'm all for that. I want that to happen, but then you've got to protect the players as well. And there was a few tasty ones in there. You spoke about that shot as well, where Casper does the 40 save, I'll call it, the one where he dives out with a hand up. It's fantastic, but there was a handball in the build-up as well to that, and he just kind of shrugged it off. And that for me, I was kind of watching it going, why is he not giving it? What's the deal there? I I was looking at it, and then obviously he saves it. It goes to a corner, and I'm thinking if they score for the corner, they can't pull it back for the phase of play because that phase of play is over, and that's dangerous. Do you know what I mean? Just because he's let the play go on for a blatant handball. For me, he was standing like 2 feet away from it. So wee things like that, I thought were pretty bad. But going forward, like you said there, Steve, Alistair Johnson, Carter Vickers, fantastic performances for them. Even Casper, I thought Casper was decent today as well. The ball's getting passed about the back and stuff, and they all look quite comfortable. They all look pretty decent in there. So, aye, all positive going forward for me, defensive wise.
The big thing that we like to do when we do these shows is really focus more on the performances. The action takes care of itself, but let's sing him straight out. He's on the thumbnail, and it is, of course, Benji Negrin. I had a wee quick look at his stats there, and I've a great all-round performance. It's exactly what we were looking for, kicking on from what we saw in the pre-season. You know yourself, we came on after the St Mirren game, and I wasn't necessarily overly critical of him. I just said it was a decent outing, first outing at Celtic Park in a domestic match, without being, phenomenal, without being overly eye-catching, doing a lot of work, not getting too much purchase. He's obviously processed information for that, and we've seen something completely different. Quick snapshot: 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 big chance created, 7 key passes, 5 of his 7 crosses were accurate on the money. 1 big chance that we know he missed, he ballooned that other one over. I think he might get a wee bit too excited, but that came at him at an awful sort of angle, and he scoops it up. 4 free kicks, 1 3 interceptions, and 5 out of 9 duels in the midfield battle won. That's a perfect all-round, all key demographics that you want to see from a midfielder getting ticked there, isn't it?
Aye, and we were sitting watching it, and it says to Joe for Benji's goal, his positional sense for that, he's always spot on, he's always on the money, he's always jogging on that penalty spot, basically, waiting on the ball coming in. Now that's something I says to Joe, says, Engels isn't there. Not a chance Arne Engels is standing there for that goal. He's not getting that. He's going to be standing in the 18-yard box. So I honestly, I love people getting a wee bet up there. That's class. We were walking around the golf course, and Joe had said, "Oh look, it's 5-2 for Celtic to win 1-0, 2-0, or 3-0." That's worth a few quid of MD's money. So he stuck that on. So congratulations to Joe as well. He got a nice wee one up there. So,
Scaffy bastard.
yes, yeah. Listen, like you were saying there, Benji Negrin, fantastic performance for him. My man of the match, to be perfectly honest. I thought he was brilliant. I thought everything he done in there was phenomenal. His passing was great. His free kick, he was unlucky with that. He manages to get it up over the wall, but just didn't get a dip on it. But it's nice to have somebody that's got that confidence to take a crack and have a dig. Obviously, everybody's seen the YouTube videos of him now as well.
Of course.
Which is quite
YouTube CFC.
YouTube CFC. So he scored a few free kicks as well, but
he's blocked out there. I'll pause him off for now.
Bro.
No, you back there, Paddy? You were just sticking a wee bit. I've just dropped you out in case you had a connection issue. Sorry, mate.
Sorry. I was saying with Benji Negrin, and his crosses and stuff are absolutely brilliant. Especially for corners and stuff as well. We just need somebody on the end of them. How many times do we need to flog that horse as well? That's one of the ones that's it's kind of frustrating. You get 10, 12 corners a game and you can't convert any of them. The best chance we had for one was Adamida when he run to the front post and he managed to get his head on it. It's probably the only thing that he done. But I want to see a lot more of that. I want to see a lot more of people attacking the ball as it's going into the box.
I think we managed to deal with any of the problems that were thrown at us with Aberdeen Welleday. But yeah, in terms of moving forward, I think the goal from Negrin, she says attacking at the front post, we've got to highlight, as is McLaughlin saying there, the KT assist, very, very similar to what we saw from him in the first half of last week. It's against St Mirren. He manages to just get past the guys no matter what. He looks so comfortable, and you can see the quality that's there. Obviously, we spoke about when he comes off and the way that we're sort of makeshift, square pegs and round holes type of thing, bringing on Trusty, moving on Scales. That's no ideal. And of course, Inamura, again, nowhere to be seen. Baffling, because he had a decent pre-season. I get the idea that he might not think that he's ready, but you at least want to have him on the bench here. That's disappointing to see. But Kieran Tierney, for example, just really, really levels up. There's a level of assurance there that just makes everything look so much calmer. And it's funny because I've seen a lot of narrative about, oh, wait until such and such a player's charging at him. He doesn't have to turn a pace and all that kind of nonsense. He seems, yes, is he as fast as he was at first when we first had him? No, he isn't. But he's so much smarter up here. The
Yeah.
positional awareness, he just glides about the park and he's fantastic. But the delivery, that's something. And again, we talk about our striker. We spoke about Ida cutting a frustrated figure once again, maybe not necessarily doing much favours for himself. That's the kind of goal that I want our strikers to be scoring for Benji Negrin. And it's quite a decent and quite a hard technique to do. The ball's coming in at him, I sort of, it's not too far off the ground. Could potentially bounce, bobble. He just attacks it right in front of the defender, pokes it home. It's a brilliant goal. It's a really, really instinctive goal. And I can see that becoming something about a hallmark from Celtic in general, no matter who's putting it in, particularly with that increase in quality that we're going to be getting with Kieran Tierney, mate, into the box.
Aye. The delivery for KT is brilliant. It always has been, and that's one of the things we spoke about. Obviously, Greg Taylor, fantastic servant for the club, but his crossing lacked it at points. And seeing Kieran, like you said, Steve, he's not going to turn that pace, but mentally wise, he's turning players inside out. He done it against St Mirren, and he done it again against Aberdeen there. That wee cheeky turn where he just puts the ball in front of himself and gives himself that wee extra yard. It's brilliant. And what a delivery. He's picking players out. He's not just punting the ball into the box and hoping for the best. This is a guy that knows exactly where he's putting it. So, yeah, listen, absolutely brilliant. A level up. And this is a Kieran Tierney that's not 100% fit.
Yes,
Just
we're still
wait till he's
managing
100%.
him. Still
Do you know what I mean?
managing him. Yep.
Wait till he's 100% fit. It's going to be different gravy. Honestly, coming into the game against the baddies, I think this is going to be the one where Kieran is fully fit and it's going to cause absolute carnage. He's
I like
brilliant.
that for Anton Rogan.
He's
And
1
that's the
yard
thing.
pace. Aye.
It is. It's weird, doesn't it? Because he slows down. It's
Aye,
almost like he slows down. Like, oh, I've ran out of ideas, and then he just does that. Do you know what it reminds me? It's like wee boys down the park, isn't it? He turns one way, and the guy goes, "Oh, he's backtracking." He turns around, and I'm like, "Ha ha, I got you!" And he's in. It's brilliant. I love it, but I'm here
Simple
for it.
stuff.
I'm here for it. But that begs the question. Then let's bring it in. There's some mention of it here in the comments, which is clearly if we are not putting Inamura into the fold, another good defensive performance. Yes, Scales gets moved in. I know we're jumping about, but we just talk about performances. We know what we got out of the game here. Scales, this is the second time that we brought on Austin Trusty, and I noticed in the game at points we'd moved Carter Vickers to be in the left centre half, maybe to allow Trusty to be in his more favoured side, but then they switched over again, then we push over Scales. It's no ideal to say the least, mate. Inamura, why is he not getting a chance? Why is he not in the squad? I've not seen anything to suggest that he's at a niggle or he's not settling or anything, but it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And Scales done okay last week against St Mirren. This week again here against Aberdeen, was he particularly pressed or tested? Not necessarily. I think they were absolutely done by the time it got round. Did a wee sort of flash when they brought on Morris and stuff like that late on, but not enough to really worry us. But we're moving Scales over to left back as a temp cover, and we tried that previously, and it clearly doesn't work. Whether you love Scales or you hate him, he is a centre half, and he's fairly dependable at a domestic level. How many times do we say this? We talk about, particularly about Ida, for example, play to people's strengths and hide their weaknesses. His strength is being in a centre half pairing. Don't fire him out on the wing on the left hand side as a sort of fullback. It's not happening, mate. It's daftness. Why is Inamura getting a chance?
Again, like I says at the start of the show, Steve, I think it's Brendan showing his hand. I think it's him saying, like, listen, we're really short. I need somebody in to cover this position. Inamura, he's probably seen as a project player. Like what we've seen him in pre-season, everybody was impressed. We were singing his praises. I don't think the guy played a crap game, to be honest. I thought he was absolutely brilliant every game he came on. Decent delivery, decent going forward. He was cutting inside and doing a bit there as well. I was impressed with the guy, so I would like to see a wee bit more of him, as we wanted to see more of Yamada as well, but I hope they don't. I'm just, it bewilders me when you've got a player that will play that position. Why not why not have him in there? Why not
Well,
have
it
that
begs the
option on?
question.
Because we know Kieran's not 100% fit, so why not have a left back in there that we can slot in?
Well, it begs the question then. Look at it this way. We next game we play Falkirk. We play Falkirk in
Yes.
a league match, a sort of cup match, which again you would expect us to win. Let's be
Mhm.
honest, as good as Falkirk were the last time we played them in the cup, they are pretty much going to be looked upon as being relegation fodder. There's probably going to be a tight fight between them, Livingston, and a other for who's going down there. Now, do you? Some people are saying Tierney needs the game time. You play him in the cup to give him more extra time to get him up to that level of fitness, or do you then give someone like Amanamura time there, or at least if you're not going to start him, is he
Yeah.
get into the squad and you at least give him a half in that game? I mean, come on, he needs to play in a proper competitive match that has substance and purpose.
Mm. Aye, 100% agree with you. I think that's something that every player needs, is to be in there playing, like you say, competitive games. I know pre-season can sometimes be like that, but to be fair, it's all just been training games essentially, hasn't it? When he's been in and just for a run out, basically. I'd like to see him get the start against Falkirk, see how we go. Obviously, I don't want any slip ups. I would like the game to get over the line. We nearly made that mistake last year, remember? Same team. You would hope that Celtic can put out a team strong enough to do the damage.
Well, I'll be there, and I'm hoping that they do the damage. But yeah, I think there's got to be a level of chance to rotate some certain players in. That's a game that for me, I'd be looking at it. I would probably maintain Neger in that game because he's fresh to the fold. I'd want to keep his confidence up. But then I'd
Mhm.
maybe think about rotating out, say, McGregor
Yeah,
and bringing in, who knows, maybe McCown's earned that chance. Maybe it is Arnott Engels. There's a couple of chats there saying, do we think that his nose has been out of joint? Others are saying he needs some time on the bench to get a bit of perspective, to get a boot up the backside, to get motivation.
yeah.
But then that'll beg a question that I really want to ask you is, Bernardo, that's 2 games now, and I know it's early. I know it's early. Didn't feature much pre-season. Didn't really look as if he was in the picture. 0 minutes, not even a sniff to look like he's going to be coming on. You said that we were very, very happy where we are in that central midfield
Yeah.
position. But the more things come about, do you think he's getting slowly but surely edged out the picture?
Looks like it. Again, like I said, the strength that we've got in that position is pretty decent. Benji Negrin's come in and hit the ground running, and he's, for me, secured that position for himself. Hatate's made himself first name in that team sheet for me. He's the one that you looked at and you go, yeah, you can't drop him. You can't. He couldn't drop him in there. So you're looking at that and you're going, right. We've got Ida. No, sorry, not Ida. We've got Engels. Sorry, it's because of two of them are shite. I got them mixed up. You've
Oh,
got Engels, and you've got McCown, and they're basically fighting for the other position with Negrin.
mhm.
And I even thought, what was it? Who did they bring on for Hatate? Was it Yamada? At one point, did they take off?
So we got Yamada on. Obviously, we get Engels on. We get McCown on. Tierney dropped away.
Aye,
We
and
pulled
then we're
off
trusted well.
Hatate. Yes, there was a few that were in there, but it was fairly straightforward changes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, other than the fact that we shoehorn Scales into left back and move Trusty in, I didn't think the changes were that much of a difference. I was quite surprised, to be honest. I was glad to see Yamada getting some time on the pitch. I don't think he had too much time on the pitch to actually make that much an impression. He ran about and he showed a wee bit of effort and things like that, but I didn't. It was unfair. Unfair. It's only as fair as the chances you get, and it was not very much for him. But a shame that he didn't get a chance to get his foot properly on the ball and get properly involved in the play and show something. But I was also quite surprised, to be honest, that he did play Shin Yamada, because with the whole Johnny Kenny signing a
New deal.
contract extension, I kind of thought, right, well, here we go. Summer with Anamura. Is this going to be a Brendan Rodgers move, or he's just not going to play Shin Yamada? But no,
Yeah.
it was good to see him on. But I didn't think the changes necessarily influenced the game too much.
No, it wasn't like the St Mirren game when obviously we made the changes in that. James Forrest come on and for me totally changed the outlook of that game. I thought the changes this week were, like you said, Steve, run of the mill. They were decent enough changes, like for like, coming off the bench and on. Nice to see Tony Ralston even getting a wee run out there as well. Alistair Johnson a rest. So, aye, listen, Yamada for me got himself into positions, done a bit of running about. Looked quick. It does look pretty rapid. Got on the end of a header as well at one point, and was pretty close with that. So, aye, it's nice to see him, and I think probably the game against Falkirk it'd be nice to see him get the nod up front. But I think that'll be a game for Johnny Kenny. I think he'll get the nod in that, and
Oh God.
we'll go for it. I really do.
I say, oh God, I think if you cannot give Shin Yamada at least a start against against Falkirk,
Yeah,
then it's a sad day. We've given Johnny Kenny game
I know.
time for start, so we kind of know where he's at. I think it's important, particularly when you look at Shin Yamada, where, as we know, he's keeping Celtic at a good point. He's got some good amount of football under his belt in terms of this season as well, because it's kind of like a winter break type thing situation where it's a break and play for them. So he's
Yeah,
came is at the optimum time. I think you need to run Shin Yamada in that game and see what he's got, rather than go back to the Kennywell. But that's by the by. But it's continuing with the positivity and the good performances. You obviously singled out your man, Rio Hatate. As you said at the turn of the show there, it looks invigorated. Mate, it was an absolute top of a goal, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah,
you see that is how perfect he had to be. It was
aye.
literally just enough of a ball's width between the tip of the goalkeeper's hand and the underside of the post. What a finish. And I
Oh,
think that can only do him a world of good to get back in the score sheet and see that he's making a difference.
aye, 100%, mate. Goal of the season, easy.
Gone early.
Absolute belter, man. The last person I seen put a ball in that position was another Japanese guy, and it was against Man United. Unreal, honestly, absolutely fantastic. When the ball comes into him and he takes that touch just to get it out his body, and then actually bends it around the Aberdeen defender, keeper's got no chance. He could have two
It's
goalies,
quite
three goals.
nonchalant, isn't it? He kind of almost flicks it with the inside of the foot.
Aye, oh mate, unreal, and that's what he gives you. I've said it so many times. Like, he's got this in his locker, and it's just about unleashing it. You just need to get that out, and hopefully, like you say, Steve, that's going to give him that boost, that bit of confidence, to do it more often, because he's certainly got it. And what a strike! Honestly, sitting here, just big cheesy grin on my face. It's like, there you go, that's my boy. He's done it. Yeah, Peach.
Like a proud father.
I was like a proud dad. I really was. Incredible goal. That's what you want to see for these guys. They've definitely got it, and phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolute peach.
No, I think, the positivity keeps on coming. We spoke about guys that have been cementing their position, that have been continuing on their form for pre-season. We look at Negrin today. That was definitely for me. And the question, I don't know who got the man of the match, but I think it
Got
should
to
have
be
been
Benji,
Negrin.
surely.
Got to be Benji, surely. For
Surely.
me, that's kicking on. That's taking what you've done. Similar to what we saw for Kuhn last season. Take what you done that pre-season and run away and building on it. I think today was another performance by Rio Hatate that he built on. I saw people saying that they weren't impressed him in the first half. I think that the game was so frantic around the middle of the park and the
Yeah,
tackles were flying in. It was probably easy to lose sight of what was happening, because everywhere you looked, every other second, somebody was getting clattered or somebody was getting closed down. There was quick turnovers of possession. But no, I think that our midfield trio have really put in the work and done it. In terms of positions that are also good to see, Alistair Johnson, there was concerns about him when he came back. He looked a wee bit off the pace. We've touched on Kieran Tierney on the other side. He still looks like he's getting up to pace. But it was really him and it was Cameron Carter-Vickers. They were the two that were looking at it and going, we're thinking of that Champions League qualifier. They need to be in. They need to be firing. They need to be up to pace. And I thought the two of them were excellent today. Carter Vickers just continually gets better and better. The positional awareness. He's in the right place at the right time. And both him and Alistair Johnson had key interceptions in that game that made a big difference. The one, for example, was very reminiscent of the cup final against Rangers when he was backtracking. He had players either side. He fell over, but he wins the ball on the ground for
yeah.
Carter Vickers. It's brilliant, absolute top tier stuff. And then, of course, Alistair Johnson. We keep on hearing from the other side of the town about certain, that gas man's coming and he's pace, right? Keskinen is every bit as fast as
Oh, aye.
Gassama. I'm sorry. and he gets back in that sliding tackle to stop him getting into the box. Brilliant for the right side he did too there, mate. Brilliant.
Aye. And the only way he can do that as well is part of the thing with James Forrest. Is James Forrest holds the right hand side as well, and he tracks back, and that's one thing that Alistair Johnson's aware of. Whereas I think if Yang's on the park, he doesn't track back as much. So Johnson's then got to be basically looking at the attack and the defence, and I think he could more so concentrate on the defensive side of his game today, and that showed. And that against down to, for me, Jamesy Forrest. So I'm quite happy with that. How that's going.
Jamesy was great again. I
Brilliant.
think I was quite surprised that he lasted as long as he did, because similar to with Tierney, he started to look like he was a tired guy.
Yeah.
But I'm not faulting it. I'm here for it. But again, it's wild to think that Jamesy Forrest looking last week, turning a game on its head, really providing, and then this one here kicking on and carrying on for his performance last season. It's mentally think still, mate, in 2025, 2 games into the new season, that Forrest is one of the first guys on the team sheet. Now, I'm here for it. It's brilliant.
Aye.
Love James Forrest. Love what he brings to the team. But again, similarly, when we talk about it, Yang, nowhere near it. Just the manager maybe saying, I've seen enough. But it shows what we're saying. Work still needs to be done here with a squad, mate.
Yeah, and last week I called it after the St Mirren game. Says I would like to see more link-up play between Kieran Tierney, Dyson Maeda, and again on the other wing way, whether it be Yang and Johnson or Forrest and Johnson. And I think Forrest and Johnson actually linked up really, really well. Johnson knows he can do the overlap with him, and he knows that Jamesy Forrest will find him, and that again causes absolute chaos, because the pace that they both come in at puts defences under turmoil. Kieran and Dyson look pretty good again. I've seen a few comments in the chat as well talking about Dyson looking unhappy and not looking himself. And
we speak about this. We don't want to get down the body language route and all that stuff. But what do you think of Dyson? The last time we spoke, mate, we said the persistence on hoping that it clicks for Ida, playing him through the middle. We'll touch on him briefly because, listen, as you said, it's now the stage where, to quote Mr. Miyagi, no can defend, right? You can't defend Adam Ida's performances lately. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
He was coming in and about looking for the ball and trying to join up play, and mixed results, and that's putting it lightly.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, I'll give credit to Adam Ida. There was a period in the second half where we get down the wing on the left-hand side and the ball is fired across, and he actually runs for the edge of the box and he's steaming for the centre of the goal. He actually is busting a gut to try and be on the end. It's similar to what Negrin done, and it's a great interception by the Aberdeen player to get it on. If not, it's on at Ida's foot. Where it goes into the net, it's a different story. But that's the one bit where I can honestly say I looked at him and went, right, okay, that's similar to what we'd get for Japanese guys, that intensity. I think under Andrew, it was just sprint burst for the centre of the box and got on the end of it. I saw that once or twice when I went, right, that's good to see that he's known he needs to do that, work that, and he was trying to press and put himself around a wee bit. That's positive, but that's limited because he's not in the right position. He's not getting there. But sorry, I've digressed away because we were talking about Maeda there.
Yeah.
Last time we says that it's diminishing returns. We're forcing them out by default to persist with playing Ida. Today, he has that brilliant chance where he gets through, and we've seen this twice now. He's been right through in goal and he's just fluffed the lines. Today it was he slips and he falls over. Did I think he was cutting a frustrated figure? No, I don't necessarily buy into that. I didn't necessarily watch it and think he looks like a guy that's checked out. But he definitely looks like a guy that is not as comfortable again where he's playing.
Aye, I think when Dyson misses that shot, he stands up and he kind of laughs and shrugs it off. And that's all fine and good when you're 2-0 up. But if he's clean through and he misses that and it's nothing each, you're calling for his head. Do you know what I mean? Celtic fans are quick to dive on people when stuff like that happens. On the Adam Ida debate as well, like you say, Steve, well, some points he was in decent positions, but then there was a time as well when Benji Negrin gets the ball and he plays it out towards Forrest, and instead of running towards the penalty box, Adam Ida runs towards Forrest, and I was saying to Joe, I was like, what is he doing? Why? Why is he running out there to try and basically running out as if he's trying to take the ball off of Jamesy Forrest? And it frustrated me. I mean, that's your bread and butter, Adam. Get in the middle of the box, stand on that penalty box and waiting the ball's coming into you, son.
Quinny says this here. Quinny says Ida does the right thing at the wrong time.
Aye.
And sadly can't pass to somebody and rest her right in front of him.
Aye. And his second touch is a tackle every time. He's honestly, guy's got a touch like an elephant. He cannot trap a bag of cement. He's brutal when the ball's coming into him.
So this is interesting, Paddy, because the last time we spoke, you were very much on the Adam Ida positivity train.
Yeah, it was. Aye.
You were on, I think that he can fulfil his wish of saying he can hit a 30-goal season at Celtic, and you think give him the service and it'll come.
Mm-hmm.
You've not flipped on that already, have you, Paddy, after another sort of lacklustre performance?
It's getting hard, isn't it? It's like you said, Steve, it's no can defend. It's just the guy, for me, he seems to just do the simple stuff wrong. Like Quinny says as well, he's doing the right things at the wrong time, and he's making runs when like they've not got the ball and things. It's just, I don't know, mate. I don't get it.
Do you think this is the problem that McLaughlin's highlighting here, Rita? I'm trying to look for a positive spin to put on it.
I hope so.
He'll maybe score in the bigger games, right? But that's fine. I think when we look at it, yeah, he scored against Rangers last season, scored against Aston Villa. But as we said, the biggest issue seemed to be when being a main Celtic striker is that he scores goals and he's goals to time on the pitch ratio, so on, it's good. But if you look at it, probably of those 20 goals, maybe about 3, potentially 4, made a difference. Turned a draw into a win or turned a defeat into a draw, really made a difference. Because other than that, they were usually like goal 3 and a 4-0, goal 5 and a 6-0 or something like that. And I think that's the problem. When you start him, when you put him on the pitch to start, you want to maybe getting the goals that kills it, breaks the deadlock, gets you in the swing of things. And he doesn't seem to be able to do that. Is he more as somebody else is saying, a plan B striker? Is he, we go with Maeda through the middle or a other striker that's a lot more mobile, that has those attributes? And if it's not working and we just need to target man it, which again, I still don't think he's even that.
No.
But you get where I'm going. Is he just a hit the switch, flip it, big central figure up front? Is he a plan B striker? Is he a off the bench impact guy? Is that as good as he's going to be? And again, I say it, £9 million not a lot of money, but I don't want a £9 million impact striker. I'm pretty sure I could have got that for less.
I know. No, of course you could have. You're talking about goals there, scoring important goals against either Rangers or goals in the Champions League and stuff like that. But can you do it in a pissing down night in fucking Dingwall? Can you travel away to Falkirk and score there? Because that's your bread and butter. That's where we need goals as well. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you score in these big games. You need to be doing it in the shite games, or you're not going to get a game in the big games. It's as simple as that. If we're going in towards the Glasgow derby and Adam Ida's still no scored, he's no starting. I'll tell you that right now. Unless he gets the finger out and actually starts putting in performances, he's not going to get a game.
To be honest with you, just to look at on that, and I know it's early days and we're getting ahead of ourselves. When I look at Rangers and I look at the problems that they've had in the 2 games, it's the high line. What you need is speed to get in behind that. Adam Ida's not that answer. So just by that default of the way they set up, the way they play, I wouldn't play Adam Ida against Rangers very often, because particularly when you look at the troubles that they've got, and the boy Gida, he's not going to be playing for them. So it's going to be makeshift again. No, I think that we need it, but there's a few points that are getting made here, and as we've said that we need wingers, we need to add that quality there.
Yeah.
See if forget Celtic signing another striker. See if Celtic sign a winger or 2. That's probably Adam Zida's tier, is it no?
Aye, no, 100%. See when Yamada come on, did you notice him and Dyson? Like they were switching. They kept switching, and Dyson was going through the middle. Yamada was going out to the wing, and then they would switch back in, and it kept happening. And I thought, you know what, that's nice to see. You wouldn't have that with Ida. You really wouldn't have that. There's no chance that Ida's going to run out onto the wing, and when he does, he's garbage and just kicks the ball out of the park. But having Dyson Maeda and Yamada being able to do that was good. And like you said, Steve, if we bring in a right winger, it or another left winger as well, it pretty much seals Adam Ida's fate as our number one striker, because for me then it would be Dyson or Yamada, and then him and Dyson could do what they were doing today and rotate it a little bit. But it's a hard one to get grips with, because we all want him to do well, but he's making it hard to love him, isn't he? He really is.
To just come back to the Maeda, where he figures in all of this, again, ask the question, this idea that he looked a bit checked out. One thing I did like for Adam, Maeda today, was that when he get fouled and you saw the wee cheeky look, so I'm going to smash you, and he got up there and he rattled the boy. I like that, so I don't think that's a guy that's checked out, but I do think there's a level of frustration there. Is there an apprehension for Brendan Rodgers to almost say I got it wrong? You know, I asked the question last week, mate. I says, is he our number one striker? And you says, yes, he is. And I says,
Yes.
no, is he actually our number one striker? Or is it just he's a number one striker simply by default of the manager digging his heels in, pinning his cause to the mast and saying, this is my guy and it's going to be the hill that I die on?
Mm-hmm. You can understand where Brendan's coming from. He's got to try and defend his big signings. Brendan's wanting the board to invest in him once again. So by playing Adam Ida and bringing on Trusty for his games and stuff, obviously Engels isn't really setting the heather alight. He's maybe drawn a line under that one, and rightly so, in my opinion. But he's maybe looking at it by saying, if Ida can kick on here, then I can go to the board and say, look, he's kicking on. That's one of the boys I brought in. He's one of the boys that I was fighting for. Help us out. And we know Brendan Rodgers can be egotistical sometimes and things like that. And is it the fact that he's doubling down? Is that you kind of getting that again? And he's saying, like, yeah, this is my man and we're going for it. But I think he is. I think he's like you said, Steve, standing by his man.
But you agree, though, with the other consensus that seems to be there, that Dyson Maeda had a freakishly amazing end to the second half of last season, scored like nobody's business. Does he have the capacity to continue that on? Do you think the missed chances that we're getting out of Maeda are just simply, as I say, is because he's not getting them falling to him as regular as he was when he was going directly through the middle? Or is that just that? Is he also maybe hit a purple patch? I think he's a fantastic player, and that he's got many roles to play at Celtic, where that is in the wing or where it's going to go through the middle. And I 100% think we need to be trying to do whatever we need to in our power to get him signed up and keep him on. But do we really need to just go and get an actual other striker and stop romanticising about the idea of playing Maeda through the middle, because it might just not happen that way? You know, we saw that Ida had a very purple patch in his loan period, and then he had wee green shoots throughout the course of last season, but it was unsustained. There's no guarantees to say that this continues on, this Dyson Maeda form necessarily continues on playing him through the middle.
But I think Dyson gives you so much more than what Ida does. Obviously, pace through the middle. He was scoring with his head, he was scoring with his left, he was scoring with his right. He was pretty much doing everything, and he was getting all the chances. His conversion rate probably wasn't the best, let's be honest, last year, but chances-wise, he was getting the chances and he was getting in the positions and scoring the goals. And I think if we had to put Dyson through the middle, I think that would happen again. Obviously, we're all aware that that's the position he plays for Japan, and yes, he wants to be in the Japan World Cup squad. So I just feel like we need to get
something. Do you think that sort of target, do you think a player having that in their mind, that alone can give them an extra 10% or so in the tank?
Oh, aye.
Where if you do put him through the middle as a striker, just knowing that he needs to be there because that's the position that he's playing for, that he's wanting to win in the Japan squad, it just makes you that wee bit better. Is that as simple as that?
Of course it is. I'll give him that extra 2 yards for me. That it's that desire. Do you know what I mean? Like, the Japanese are a very, very proud people. They want to be there. Obviously, it's a massive honour to play for your national side, but like the Japanese take that to another level for me, and you just need to watch their international side play in tournaments like the World Cup and things like that. That are absolutely phenomenal, and it's such an honour and a privilege for them to do that. And I think that every one of them want to be there and want to represent their country. And for me, if you're playing them in the right positions, like Rio Hatate's doing his chances incredibly well, And I think Dyson, if he gets a chance through the middle, will do the exact same. I think it'll give him that extra yard of pace, which he doesn't really need, let's be honest, but it will.
Well, Paddy, let's bring it home with the manager.
Yeah.
Now, points on the bag, happy days. We kick on, we move on to the next one. Cup action, then of course Livy, then Europe, then the baddies. We're in a good spot. We find ourselves in a good spot, and there's no gimmies for that opposite side there. And again, say Typhoon saying, think maybe Ida is in his own head potentially.
Possible.
But it's up to the big man to get that squared up and sorted soon, because the big problem he has got, as we've seen with Arne Engels, we're not going to go in that route, but he finds himself on the bench because he's not been producing the goods. Ida finds himself in a fortunate position where we're quite loose, we're quite short on options. So by default, he'll get more chances. But should Celtic improve in the wing positions, even if it's direct wingers or guys that can move across the three that could be deployed as a false nine and things like that, a full attacker, then he could be in a bit of trouble, particularly Celtic going by another striker. So at this moment in time, he's getting more chances, but those will be diminishing returns. Those chances will be more and more finite, because even though I am not enjoying where we are in the transfer window, I would expect some movement there. And as I say, if it's wingers, that means Maeda's getting moved. That means trouble for Ida. So he's got to start hitting the ground and sorting his shit out in his head or otherwise soon. But Paddy, before we finish up, I want to talk about this. The manager happy with the result, but I've just put one quote and one quote only from him. I want more players at the top end of the pitch. I can't magic them there. I'll work with what we have. In the meantime, now, of course, that comes back to what we've been talking about there. He clearly sees the deficiencies up front and the wings. He wants to address it. I want to talk about the wider thing here. Brendan Rodgers, let's laugh, because body language and all this and that. I tell you what, I can't remember tell you the last time I didn't see Brendan Rodgers with a tie on, a belt on, his Gucci belt on. It was a strange one, and a lot of people were commenting on it, and particularly his post-match, where he was saying all the right things, he was praising the performance, and rightfully so. But when he get asked about reinforcements, when he get asked about signings, he looks like a guy who is not giving up, but almost worn down and accepting where the position he is. He's getting fed up of answering the same questions with no updates. Not even we're working on stuff, just hopefully I can't do this, I can't do that, I want this, I want that, but. And I just felt, for me, the one thing I would say about Rodgers is that spark, that we quip, that we laugh, the joke, it wasn't there. And again, Steve, you're reading into too much. The eyes looked dead, mate. It was like Groundhog Day.
Aye, I get what you're saying with the whole fed up answering the same questions thing. I did get that kind of feel from it. When the camera panned onto him halfway through the game as well, and I think it was Chris Sutton who was doing the commentary, had turned around and said, "Oh, he's not wearing a tie. What does it mean?" Obviously, knowing fine well that people are going to dive on it, like Brendan is not wearing a tie. Oh my god! And I'm going to tell you right now, it wasn't too warm in Aberdeen, so it wasn't the fact that he was taking the tie off because it was too hot. I don't know what the deal is there. Keskinen was wearing a pre-marked t-shirt and a suit jacket. Not Keskinen, sorry, Jimmy Tillene. He had a pre-marked t-shirt and a suit jacket on, so he wasn't really dressed to impress himself either. But it's weird seeing Brendan without his tie and his Gucci belt. It really is.
Are you, to jump in, are you John Doe saying don't panic? I mean, the manager's not giving us positive vibes, so it's a bit harder for us to be positive if the manager doesn't look so.
Of course, listen, I was on the rig as well, and you're talking to folk on there, and Aberdeen fans, United fans, Baddies fans, whatever. They say, "Oh, Brendan won't last the season. That's it. He'll be on his way, and he's no happy. The board aren't showing the passion that he's got, and blah blah." And I says, "Listen, I can see that the board don't show the same desire as him." I says, "But I tell you right now, you'll see the season out." He told us that when he came in the first time. He says, "I will do my 3 years, and then if something comes along after that, then we'll discuss it." And I think he's coming to the end of his tenure, and I think the board haven't showed the same ambition. So I think, he must be getting a bit pissed off with it. And if he leaves at the end of this season, I think he's laid enough groundwork with the fans that will understand. Do you know what I mean? Like he said, his last interview when he was talking about the desire and the passion and people meeting the ambition and things like that.
Paddy, here's something I want to throw at you real quick, right? The language isn't great. Now, I felt that what he said was almost board apologist stuff.
Yeah,
And this is what confuses me with Brodge. He flips and flops at times. Sometimes he comes out and he'll smack you square in the nose. Other times he'll toe the party line. Last time he turned around and he says, over the seasons gone by, the years, the board have shown that they get the work done. Now, I said this categorically, and I'll say it again. Yes, they eventually bend at the knee, they acquiesce and give them, or a manager, some players. Is it always the required amount of players? No, it isn't. Is it the required amount of investment? No, it isn't. And you can argue 30 odd million last season. Aye, it is. But again, still continually, season upon season, posting a profit. That's brilliant. That's always great. But see, every now and then, you need to push it out because that was 30 odd million, but still requiring at least another 3 players on top of that.
yeah.
We then lose players. We don't bring them in. We're constantly chasing. We're constantly behind. And I can't see it far enough. The manager is absolutely scunnered. And if anybody is wanting to sit there and praise the board, get the work done, look at the money they spent, as I said before, it's smoke and mirrors. Don't let yourself be kidded on. This board, putting it lightly, do not give a fuck, right? They do not have any great intention. And the big question is, Paddy, what do this board want their legacy to be? Bank balances?
It seems like it, doesn't it? Because it's certainly not leaving it on the pitch or leaving it in the. We've been incredibly. I was going to say lucky. We've been incredibly blessed, shall we say, to be in the position where we've won so many trophies over the last 20 years. And again, yes, that is down to some investment from the board and bringing in players and things like that. But I feel like there is, like you said, Steve, there's so much more potential there. There's so much more that could be done that isn't done. We spoke about being proactive instead of reactive when it's coming into this Champions League qualifier. Now, we're getting into this Champions League qualifier, be it against Kara Almaty or be it against Slovan Bratislava, with Yang, James Forrest as our main wingers, with Adam Ida as our main striker. And listen, that's worrying. That's the part for me where you turn around here and you go, right, wait a minute. This is potentially a £40 million game for us. Mm-hmm. And we've not went out and really spent a penny towards it. So surely for me, you've got
Paddy,
to we
said you should be looking at this game and say that is extremely winnable.
Of course it is.
Spend the money. They'll probably sit and think we've got enough in the tank to get through that. Whisper it, do I think we do? Yeah, I do. But I don't want to try and find out. I don't want to run the risk of trying to find out. Yeah. I want us to actually go out there and invest and say, no, look at that fixture. We will win that fixture. So we've no qualms about spending that money. And this is the thing that's more annoying. We saw the way that we did it. We saw and we know factually that Engels and Ida should have cost us probably between the two of them about £5-6 million less in total. But no, we farted about. We left it to the last minute. And sometimes, yes, you do snag a great deal at the last minute. That certain player that's on the periphery of a big team squad, you can maybe get them in a loan. But more often than not, you get bent over because you are sitting there and you're desperate. That sort of transfer business and dealings isn't to be applauded. There's nothing to be positive about with that. That's not getting the work done. That's just scraping by the skin of your arse. That's what that is. And
I've said it before. It's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We're doing the exact same thing as what we did before. We're messing about, putting in low ball offers for players and getting laughed at. They're going, you're 3 million off, you're 4 million off the price of these guys. Now, like I say, Steve, we get into the Champions League, that's essentially a £40 million game. And I read something the other day and it was talking about Tottenham and Celtic, the winnings that they got. Celtic made more money last year.
It's insane, Paddy.
And Tottenham won the Europa League. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous because of your run in the Champions League, which we never really got far. We got out of the group stages, yes, but our game against Bayern Munich and then get knocked out, and we still made more than the actual winners of the Europa League. And that's ridiculous when you think about it.
And I just want to bring that up to Smelgov before I finish. Nobody will be signed. First leg in 10 days' time. And I think that
Mad.
we're talking maybe about 5-6 days to declare the squad for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it happening. Listen to the way that manager was talking. I don't see that happening. I think that he is being set up to fail. And just to finish, I just want to put this to you because we're going to come back through the week. We'll do our board special. We've been talking about that. We'll get the opinions of yourself, Paddy, and a few others, hopefully, on that. He keeps on saying that this is above him, that this isn't his wheelhouse, that he focuses on what he's got, and they ask the question, he might not be doing it well enough. I've said this before, I'll repeat it again. If him and Dermot Desmond are supposedly as tight as they are, go and ask the question. Go and speak to him. Pick up the phone, ask for a meeting, whatever you need to do. I'm sorry, what's the worst that's going to happen? He says, no, or worse, fuck off, or words to that effect, right? Let's face it, if they are pals, and he's that close to him, why can't he go direct to the man? Because it's pretty clear that the board and the people that are on it are just there for decoration. They don't actually really make the decisions. They go to the guy who isn't the owner, but kind of is the owner because they're all fear to him. So why not just go directly to him and go, by the way, you got me back. You asked me to come back here. You're the reason I'm back here. Where's all the promises? Where have I got? And see if he turns around and says to him something, I don't know, obviously we'd never know. But let's just say it was, we gave you 20 million, you signed 2 guys and they're garbage. Let's just say that was the reason. Then at least he would know, wouldn't he?
Aye. No, that's it, exactly. And I don't agree with this whole Dermot owning 33% of the club and then being the guy that's got the final say when it comes to
stuff. It must have been
like
a terrible meeting, Frank. It must have been crap then.
Aye, I know. He said that, didn't he? He sat down with Nicholson and Desmond and had a talk. And I think they've probably just laughed at him, told him to get out of that meeting because we've not really seen anything come from it. I don't agree with this whole. It doesn't seem like a democracy, does it? For me, it doesn't seem like there's equal opportunities in there. It seems like a wee bit of dictatorship where one guy says, no, you're not getting it, that's it. Mm-hmm. And that's not the way Celtic should be run for me. We should be positive going forward. We should be proactive going into Champions League qualifiers because, let's face it, next year we're going to have a hell of a lot more.
Yes, that's it. Well, Paddy, we could go on. We could go down this. Let's bring it full circle. Let's get back to the positivity.
Top of the league, looking down on the Rangers.
2 games played. 4 points ahead. It's all right, done it?
4 points ahead of who? Well, 6 points, mate. We're doing all right.
Well, listen, we know there's a challenge. There's a challenge every season, but it's good. I wouldn't have thought that we would have found ourselves in this great fortunate position so early on. But it's important, as we say, to back that manager. Sometimes it really is that simple. We're onto a good thing here. And see in particular, when they, across the city, are in a state of flux, a state of turmoil, a state of Jekyll and Hyde, as I said on the tweet earlier on, kick them whilst they're down and put another boot in for good measure.
Yeah.
Anyway, Paddy, listen, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure as always. And of course, look, we all know that it's Monday tomorrow. So don't forget. Because I think that the meltdowns might be in full flow. We've got a manager that we want to keep in situ. We want to give him the backing. They've got a manager that's had the backing and they want rid of him. Yeah. I know whose position I'd rather be in, and it is ours. Strengthen the squad. Continue with the strength of the dugout. And if you do that, you can't go forward long.
Definitely, mate. I heard a wee bit of the phone in the night, and there was a guy on, and he was saying that there's a lot of people been telling Russell Martin to get his hair cut because he keeps touching his hair and moving it about, and there's videos going about it and stuff, and there's more highlights of him touching his hair than there is goals on the pitch and stuff. It was good. I thoroughly enjoyed that one, but listen, let them deal with what they're doing. If anybody sees them coming, please let us know.
And I'll leave you with this for Typhoon. He says, thank you very much. Thank you for watching. If you like the show, hit the subscribe if you've not done already. And yeah, imagine they had a great team. They are Jekyll and Hyde. And well, to that I say, at least at this moment in time. But I never take anything for granted, and neither should Celtic. That's why get the bank bank balance money burst open, get out there, get the transfers in, and kick on. Take care of yourselves. Until the next time, as always, Paddy, tell them all.
Hail, hail.
See you later. Bye bye.